We are here with Ludovic-Alexandre Vidal and Julien Salvia, the songwriters behind La poupée, monte, the song Laura Thorn will take with her to Basel this year, representing Luxembourg. Guys, welcome.
Nice to meet you guys. We're so happy to be with you.
We just wanted to sort of start out by talking about what your relationship with Eurovision was growing up.
I think that the very first time I watched it, I was something like 4 years old with my parents and sisters. And I have never missed an edition since. I've always been with my Excel files doing the ratings. It's always been like a family thing. My parents, of course, don't live with me anymore. But still, when there is Eurovision, I'm always on the phone with them. And we are live saying, well, what is your rating?
When we met, one of our first projects, we wanted to write a Eurovision song.
We met each other like something like 21 years ago now.
Yeah. We met together in an engineering school. So nothing to do with music. I wanted to put on Les Mis, like a project in my school. And Ludo said, they will never accept
It's
that.
an engineering school.
And he said, let's write a musical and let's put it in the school theater. And I said, I will do both. And I did both. And actually, that's how we wrote our first musical. And we loved Eurovision. So we wrote some music for that, but we didn't write a complete song for Eurovision. It was years later.
Yeah, years later.
We tried for France. And now we're here and we are
so happy to be part of it.
How did you each come to songwriting?
I started to write songs around the age of 11 or 12. So I'm mostly on the lyric side part, on my side in terms of songwriting. But in fact, I've got also musical background. I've been studying a lot of musical theory, a little bit of violin, mostly piano. And I also did orchestration for a couple of years. And then I met this guy. And I just don't do like real music anymore. Now I'm more on the lyric side.
I started writing songs at the age of 10. And actually, I really loved musicals. So I hired my sisters and my cousins to play in my plays and my musicals. And my grandfather was building the sets. And my grandmother was making the costumes. And I loved to rehearse. I loved to rehearse a lot. And so I was happy when I came in this engineering school to meet people who wanted to rehearse too.
Anything to not study engineering, you know?
Yeah.
When you guys met and started working together, what was your process for writing a song and how has that sort of changed over your collaboration?
That's a very good question.
Actually, in our first show, which was called Révolution, during the French Revolution, Ludo wrote some songs, actually really depressing songs.
Yeah.
Beautiful songs, but it was so depressed at that time.
That's true. That's true.
And I was like, Disneyland.
That's good. You need that balance, though. That's
and France, revolution is a very uplifting thing.
It was easy for me like to stop the music writing because I didn't have the same feeling that Julien has, that the music should convey emotion and story. I think that my approach to music was a little bit more intellectual or structured in terms of music theory.
I needed a good lyricist. So when I met him, it was, thank you, my God.
Yeah, I think we all know that when you find like your writing partner in a songwriting team, I mean, it's like the greatest gift ever.
Because I think we admire each other, and that's the most important thing. I think is the best. And I think it's important when you work with someone to think he is the best.
And at the same time, that doesn't prevent us to say, well, you've just done shit.
Yeah.
But still admire each other.
Yeah, of course. I do that all the time.
Wait, now, specifically, Julien, what was the first meal that Ludo cooked for you?
Oh my God, this is a good question. I remember the first meal I cooked for him, which was awful. I was awful. And he didn't want to eat it. And I was really disappointed, not to say angry. But I can understand now why he didn't, because he wouldn't be there today.
So getting a little bit more granular on the songwriting process.
Yeah, totally. Usually we start with what the story will convey as a message and also the emotional journey of the character.
I would say that 70% of the process of writing is based on developing a very detailed treatment.
If I see the scene, the music will come really instinctively. And that's what we do. Usually I write the music first. Sometimes if Ludo has like a catchy phrase he would like to have in the song, he says to me,
I would say, well,
that'll be a title.
Yeah, so structure, music, potential gimmick, and then lyrics.
Because
some back and forth. But I think that 99% of the time, I really feel that the music is really conveying the emotions that we discuss and that we defined. And so the words come naturally afterwards. And I like to be very respectful of the music for that, because I think that we've got the advantage that there are many, 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 many words, whatever the language, but on the keyboard, you don't have that many notes. Also, in my professional journey, I've also worked as an adapter of musicals from English to French. And then, of course, you respect all the material that is created.
So, Julien, when you sit down with a treatment, right, are you writing all the sections of the song, or does it start with like, okay, here's the verse chorus, like, let's develop off of that?
It depends. Sometimes a chorus comes to me and then I like it, or it could be the verse, or sometimes I thought it would be the chorus, but man, no, it's not as impactful as I would like. So maybe it could be the verse, because I like that in that emotion and what the character is conveying here.
Yeah.
I really enjoy not staying 3 or 4 hours at the piano. I prefer playing maybe 30 minutes and then doing something else and coming back to the piano and doing something else. I'm pretty sure the brain is working. And
still, I know that if he has difficulty like to find the mood for the music, in 90% of the case, it's because the emotional journey is not clear.
Or the scene is not clear, exactly, and not as impactful as we would like to be.
What made you both fall in love with musicals in the first place?
It's one of the most complete arts in the sense of you convey emotions and you tell stories through music, dance, theater, visuals, stagings.
And actually, musicals and Eurovision are really linked, because it's first and foremost a live performance. It's a concept on stage too. It's not just a song on the radio. So that's also why we love Eurovision, I think.
What's the most consistent creative disagreement that you two have had over the years?
I think it happened a couple of times, like when I went to Julien.
I remember. I wrote music and he said, I can't understand your music, it's shit.
I don't understand this music.
We always speak like this, you know. Maybe it's the French rudeness.
It's the same in New York. So
what pisses me off when I don't understand his music is that I know that if he wrote it this way, it's something that I've missed in the feeling that he got regarding the emotional journey that we discussed and we agreed. Right. And so I know that in 95 or 99% of the time, it's more my fault than his fault.
It's never my fault.
If I'm honest, generally, I take like 3 or 4 days like thinking about it and re-listening to it. And then I say, oh my God, it becomes my favorite ever.
And he hates me.
You know what? No, really. And in the end,
really, there's a difference between Ludo and I. He likes to work in pain, and I don't like it. I really have to feel good to write.
I love the struggle to find like the good word or the nice expression.
Right.
That would be the fun without the struggle.
Yeah. I get that. I do.
You thought about Eurovision early on, but beyond that, how much had you explored pop writing?
We've had a couple of songs that we had been writing in pop music.
But then we never published.
Some that we already sent to the French selecting committee, hoping that it will be selected. But in the end, they were not.
We had this friend who told us, oh, you can apply for Luxembourg and you should do it.
I said, well, we are youth Eurofans. It's a dream to write a song for Eurovision. But I don't want it like to be just a Eurovision song. I want it to be the Eurovision song for Luxembourg. When people will listen to it, they will say, oh, that's Luxembourg. Luxembourg has such a history with the Eurovision Song Contest. And that's where the idea came in, to be a nod to that famous iconic victory of France Gall with Poupée de cire, poupée de sang. What would that poupée say today? Of course, it's 60 years later. And the mentalities have evolved. And so, very first question, what is our character? What is the singer going to tell? We want the poupée to have a really feminist voice, a self-empowerment voice, but with a fun and sugar style of music.
Do you use the contrast between the music, which is like candy song, bubblegum song, and the lyrics that are really straightforward and really feminist?
It was very important for us to have that pop modern sound of the 225 year, but with a nod to the more orchestral. It's a nod to the 1965 doll, but how would you express nowadays?
We thought of the reference of Ava Max. We thought he could be a France girl of today. And actually, Ludo was thinking of a title that could reference really quickly to the France girl victory, Poupée de cire, Poupée de son. We wanted something like a doll thing in the music. So the rhythm is really straight in the verses mostly. And when we come to the bridge, she's not a poupée anymore. So we break the rhythm. It's more groovy.
And then where there are the vocal riffs in the end, and when she starts to soar and she elevates, and then going back also to
so still it's a story. It's still a story because that's how we write songs.
Can you talk about how you found Laura?
When we applied to the Luxembourg Song Contest, we were looking for a singer that was in Luxembourg, and we had a connection who is a singing teacher in Belgium, and he had Luxembourg students, and he had Laura. She's at the same time a super cool girl, and she's so talented. So the collaboration has been like fantastic.
How early on in the process did she get involved?
She arrived once the song was finished already. It's been recorded for a demo already. We sent the song to her so she could try to sing it.
Because here also with all the text of I want to make my voice heard, she brought it so much with what she felt with the text.
And actually, we sent the demo to the delegation, and she was auditioned. And then once she was chosen, she came to Paris so we could record the first version of the song, which is on the platforms. And now we've just recorded a new version 3 months later. Many things have growth for Laura, but even for us, we didn't want to change the spirit of the song. But we thought, okay, here it could build a little bit more.
In terms of emotional journey?
I think it will be more unconscious. In our first demo, it was our orchestration.
Or an arrangement.
But we're not musical producers. So then we met Christophe Houssin, who is a musical producer. He did this version that Laura recorded and that was presented to Luxembourg Song Contest. And so we worked with Christophe for the revamp, of course.
Him coming in as a producer, how did that change the arrangement?
First of all, he just listened to it just once, and then he did what he thought about the concept of France Gall and everything, and all the references I gave to him.
And then it's back and forth.
And then it's back and forth. But
I missed that side in the initial prayer.
Yeah, we like that.
I'd like to keep the string like this here, and so it was really a co-arrangement in the end.
And then, of course, we recorded at his place. We were together on the musical direction for Laura. That's how we worked. When you see it on stage, it's really different from just hearing a recording. You can say, oh, this is missing a bit of energy, musically speaking, at that part.
But it's that interesting duality with Eurovision that the song informs the staging, but then the staging kind of informs more information back to the song again.
When you were writing the song, did you have a staging in mind that helped you sort of write the song? And how much did the eventual staging actually reflect what we saw in Luxembourg?
There are no real ideas that are in the show now.
But it's pretty similar also to many ideas that we had. For instance, like to have a costume change at some point.
For instance, the costume change we had in mind. So when the production presented us, the concept.
The global
concept. They said there will be a quick change. They said,
that's right.
It's what you guys were talking about, right? The clarity of the moment and the clarity of the songwriting allows all these things to be built on top of it, right?
It just occurs to me that there's kind of this triangle of power, so to speak. There's songwriting, there's the artist, there's the broadcaster. So once it gets to like staging concept, who's in charge?
Discussion, but actually for LSC, it's the delegation hires a producer to put on the show. And then so they present us the
concept, and then it was just a dialogue.
For instance, we've got a WhatsApp where everyone is talking.
What's it been like emotionally for you since winning?
I think I've cried during the LSC when the points came in. When
I couldn't bear him.
it was just like, oh my God.
The person in charge during the points said, your reactions are so intense. It was better to be on you than on the
No, you're right. No, honestly, I still wear the bracelet of the night. I just want to keep it.
That's the sweetest thing ever.
And in terms of emotions, I think that living this as a person is a dream. Living this with your lifetime writing partner is a top dream.
Yeah.
And sharing it with your family is fantastic. When the results came in, my dad was like something like 1,000 kilometers away and he cried in front of his TV, and it's like we call directly. We've always liked to bring emotions and to bring some happiness, and maybe that a single note or a single lyric might have an impact of someone's life.
I know in the craziness of everything, are you thinking past Eurovision? Like, are there discussions as to how to use the platform? And are these conversations you've had with Laura?
For the moment, I think that Laura states it in a good way. It's like she loves to do everything one step at a time and to let herself go in the process. So for the moment, we totally respect that and just like take advantage of every moment and like make the most of every moment, and then we'll see the future later.
Maybe an English version of the poupée.
Of course.
First, we have to plan out all of the hangs apparently we're doing in New York and Basel in May.
We're going to be partying constantly.
Definitely. We will be in NY so like early May, for instance, and also early April. So we have plenty of time to do this.
Yeah. Oh, this is great. This is great. All right. Well, Ludo, Julien, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for hosting
wonderful
us.
conversation.
Thank you so much.
All the mysteries of the Euroverse.